KJA Global Channel, The Political System and Me. Series 3, Institutions, Power, Rights, and Accountability. Episode 20, My Unity and Diversity, Belonging Without Domination. There is a wound that does not always bleed in public, but it bleeds in history. It is the wound of being told that you do not fully belong. Not because you harmed anyone, but because your name sounds different, your language carries another memory, your faith follows another path, or your community remembers a history that power would rather forget. This wound is not only personal, it becomes political. Every political system must answer a question that every citizen carries. Do I belong in this country as myself, or only as an imitation of someone else? Can I speak my language, practice my faith, preserve my culture, and remember my history without being treated as disloyal or dangerous? Majorities sometimes use unity to mean assimilation. Become like us. Speak like us. Remember what we remember. Hide what makes us uncomfortable. Then perhaps we will call you one of us. Unity is necessary. A country needs shared institutions, shared rules, shared responsibilities, and enough common purpose to build a future together. But unity can be built through belonging, or imposed through domination. This question reaches daily life early. A child is punished for speaking a home language. A community cannot receive services in words it understands. A local history disappears from textbooks. A citizen remains an outsider after generations of belonging. Repeated exclusion teaches a devastating lesson. You are tolerated, not respected. You are allowed, not honored. You are present, but not equal. In the name of unity, states have erased languages, rewritten histories, restricted worship, centralized authority, and called the result national cohesion. But true unity is not domination. True unity is belonging. Belonging means the country is yours without requiring you to disappear. Your rights do not depend on resemblance to the majority. Public institutions recognize you as a co-owner of the political community. This episode asks whether a system creates a home for everyone or a hierarchy of permanent guests, suspects, and targets. A nation that cannot hold difference peacefully may eventually hold weapons. The system reveal is pluralism, inclusion, and anti-domination safeguards. Diversity is a reality to be designed for, not a problem to be solved away. In plain language, the hidden mechanism is pluralism, inclusion, and anti-domination safeguards. Diversity describes reality. Pluralism lets differences coexist under fair common rules. Inclusion gives different people voice, influence, and equal protection. Anti-domination safeguards stop one group from turning numbers, weapons, wealth, status, or state power into permanent superiority. Two models compete: the cage and the house. Unity as a cage means obedience. You may live inside only if you become smaller than yourself. Speak the approved language. Hide the unapproved faith. Forget the unapproved history. This is domination disguised as unity. Domination is not merely disagreement or majority rule. It exists when one group can arbitrarily determine how another may live, speak, participate, worship, remember, govern locally, or seek protection. One identity becomes national while others are treated as political, divisive, or dangerous. Unity as a house is different. A house has rules, but they exist for shared living, not for crushing identity. It has common spaces, distinct rooms, shared duties, and protected dignity. No group owns the entire house. Unity as a house means belonging through shared sovereignty. Citizens are not guests of the state. They are authors of it. Common decisions are made together, while local decisions remain close to those they most affect. Equality does not always mean identical treatment. A single language rule may apply to everyone yet burden communities unequally. Equal belonging may require translation, accessible services, fair representation, cultural protection, local authority, and reasonable accommodation. Accommodation is not unlimited. No cultural claim should erase another person's dignity, safety, or fundamental rights. A minority may need protection from national domination, while individuals inside it may need protection from local coercion. A just system protects both the community and the person. The greatest threat is unity without justice. Cohesion bought by domination always breaks. Diversity does not threaten a nation. Domination threatens a nation. It turns difference into humiliation, humiliation into grievance, grievance into fear, and fear into conflict. Belonging has 4 dimensions: legal belonging through equal citizenship, political belonging through meaningful voice, cultural belonging through freedom of language, faith and memory, and emotional belonging through confidence that institutions will not abandon you when power changes. Declarations are not enough. A constitution may promise equality while daily life communicates exclusion. A language right may exist without teachers, interpreters, forms, or budgets. A court may recognize a remedy that no institution enforces. To understand unity and diversity, follow the rights chain. Right or legitimate interest. Law or constitutional rule. Responsible institution. Complaint or review. Hearing and evidence. Remedy. Enforcement. The first link asks what claim is at stake: equal citizenship, language access, religious freedom, local self-government, fair representation, or freedom from discrimination. Law or constitutional rule asks where that claim is recognized and whether the rule is clear and equal. Responsible institution asks who must make the right real and whether it has the budget, staff, reach, independence, and authority to act. Complaint or review asks where exclusion can be challenged and whether the route is accessible, affordable, understandable, safe, and independently reviewed. Hearing and evidence asks who listens, what evidence is accepted, whether interpretation and legal help exist, and whether affected people can speak safely. Remedy asks what can repair the harm: translation, reinstatement, compensation, policy change, restored access, representation, or protection against repetition. Enforcement asks who makes the remedy real through deadlines, budgets, monitoring, sanctions, or a higher authority capable of compelling compliance. A broken outcome may begin far upstream. Visible harm may be inaccessible education, exclusion from development, underrepresentation, or targeting because of identity. The deeper failure may be an unjust rule, an unfunded institution, an inaccessible complaint process, a hidden record, a captured reviewer, or a remedy that exists only on paper. The rights chain prevents us from reducing system failure to one personality. It identifies where recognition, law, capacity, access, evidence, remedy, or enforcement stopped working. When citizens locate that break, criticism becomes more accurate and reform more practical. For this episode, the principal mechanism is pluralism, inclusion, and anti-domination safeguards. The production graphic must keep every link readable on a phone screen and label country-specific or proposed arrangements honestly. Under dictatorship, information is restricted, institutions answer upward, national identity is defined from the center, difference may be treated as disloyalty, and challenge may carry personal risk. Dictatorship offers a false bargain: obedience for peace, silence for safety, and uniformity for recognition. But peace without belonging is managed fear. In a fragile democracy, formal rules may exist while patronage, corruption, unequal capacity, politicization, or weak enforcement makes protection inconsistent. Elections may count votes, but exclude voices. Language rights may lack implementation, local autonomy may lack revenue, and anti-discrimination law may be applied unevenly. Elections choose governments. They do not determine whose humanity counts. In a functioning federal democracy, authority is constitutionally distributed, common rights remain enforceable, and more than one institution can correct harmful power. Shared government protects common interests, regional government protects meaningful self-rule, and courts protect constitutional boundaries. But the label alone proves nothing. Power may remain centralized, a region may lack revenue, representation may lack influence, and autonomy may protect local elites more than citizens. Actual performance must be tested. Compare who decides, how authority was obtained, whether records are public, whether affected people participate, whether common rights remain enforceable, and whether independent remedies exist in practice. A democratic answer must be designed, funded, staffed, reviewed, and corrected. The minimum guardrails are: 1. Equal citizenship and anti-discrimination law. Citizenship must not be graded by ancestry, faith, language, region, gender, wealth, or political loyalty. 2. Language, cultural, and participation rights. People need meaningful access to education, justice, healthcare, information, voting, and administration before decisions are completed. 3. Shared institutions with meaningful representation. Representation matters only when people can influence laws, budgets, appointments, security, education, development, and constitutional change. 4. Minority within minority safeguards. Local autonomy must not create local impunity, and vulnerable people may require specific protection. 5. Independent remedies for domination or exclusion. Their independence, accessibility, competence, and enforcement power matter more than their titles. These safeguards work as a system. A rule without independent review can become theater. Oversight without records cannot see. Participation without safety can expose people. Representation without influence can legitimize exclusion. A remedy without enforcement does not repair harm. Global relevance. Across political labels, ask who decides, what limits power, what information is public, who participates, whose language and history are recognized, who can challenge exclusion, and whether a real remedy exists. Myanmar relevance. Do not treat one organization, community, armed actor, political movement, administrative body, or proposal as the whole country. Separate existing law and institutions from interim arrangements, negotiated proposals, political commitments, and future designs. State whether an institution operates nationally, only in some areas has been proposed, or remains aspirational. Here is the civic practice for this episode. See and ask. Ask whether your society offers belonging or merely demands obedience. Who is treated as the default citizen, who must prove loyalty, and whose identity is presented as a problem. Verify. Examine one equality, language, representation, local autonomy, or anti-discrimination safeguard. Identify the rule, who it protects, the responsible institution, the complaint route, the remedy, and whether enforcement occurs. Act. Conduct a belonging audit of one institution. Ask who participates, who decides, who is protected, and who can challenge exclusion. Visual diversity alone does not prove equal influence. Review. Record the responsible institution, evidence, safeguard or remedy, and one safe next step. Where public action is unsafe, work privately, preserve no identifying information, and do not pressure vulnerable people to share stories. Success is not visibility. It is identifying exclusion precisely, distinguishing law from aspiration, locating responsibility, protecting people, and choosing the safest practical action. A nation cannot be held together by force forever, but it can be held together by fairness. Force can produce silence, but not belonging. Fear can produce obedience, but not loyalty. Propaganda can produce a slogan, but not a shared home. Justice is the glue of unity. Belonging is the quiet miracle that makes a future possible. It allows people to disagree without preparing to separate, communities to preserve identity without fearing erasure, and a country to become larger than any single group. In the next chapter, we enter the painful domain where unity is strengthened or destroyed. Memory, history, and truth. Because a nation that cannot face its past cannot build trust for its future. The principle to carry forward is this: diversity is a reality to be designed for, not a problem to be solved away. Ask yourself, what part of unity and diversity should I now examine more truthfully, safely, and precisely? Power must be restrained, distributed, and answerable. Belonging must be equal, protected, and real. In the next episode, we continue with my memory and history.
Who owns the past?
Continue the playlist, use the worksheet, and keep the practice safe, truthful, and disciplined. The system shapes our lives. Our participation shapes the system.
Subscribe.
Learn. Participate. Shape the future. KJA. Knowledge justifies authority.